Greetings RKPians. I hope you all are doing well. I Jyoti welcome you all to RKP online classes. And as you all know, we are on the verge of completion of our syllabus, of our entire syllabus. We have already completed our Behavior book, and today we will be doing our last chapter of our Mormons. And the name of our lesson is The Beggar. And it is a short story written by Anton Chekhov. Now, who is Anton Chekhov? Anton Chekhov is a Russian playwright. He is a Russian playwright. Not only a playwright, he is also a short story writer. And the chapter that we are going to deal is a short story written by Anton Chekhov. Clear everyone? He is a Russian playwright and a short story writer. Clear? So if I talk about this chapter, as you can see the name, The Beggar. The means we are going to talk of a specific person obviously, and the person is a beggar. Now, who is a beggar? When you hear the word beggar, what is the impression that comes in your mind? You obviously get an image in your mind. What is that image of? A person who is roaming around begging for alms. Obviously that would be a beggar who is living, who is surviving on the things that he gets from other people, on his alms. Clear? Another thing that we can make is about his appearance. Obviously, he would be undernourished, maybe suffering from some disease, and his clothes may be worn out. They are either dirty or he is not in his complete clothes. During winters, he might not be getting woolen clothes to cover himself. He might not be having a particular shelter. Or also it can be possible that he is a beggar. Not because he can't do anything, but because he is not willing to do. We always see, often we see that there are people who are not willing to do work. They are not willing to do hard work to survive. They just want that things should come to them easily, and they are happy in that. Clear? You must have seen that when beggars ask for alms, they say that give us some coins, give us food. When you say to them that do some work for us and we'll pay you, it is almost, I can say, more than 50% chances are there that they will deny. They don't want to work, they just want alms. They'll just say you want to give, then give, otherwise you can go. We don't want. So there are many types of people. There can be circumstances which force the people to beg, or that it can be the nature of that person which is forcing him, that he is so lazy that he didn't want to work. Clear? So there can be situations, means there are many circumstances which lead a person to beg. So let's see what do we have in this chapter. So in this chapter we will be having, obviously we will be talking about the beggar. And through this chapter we will also notice many things, and I will sum up the things at the end, but you will also take a note of the things side by side. Clear everyone? So I hope you are ready with your notebook and your pen or pencil to take down the notes, and you have to listen actively. Clear? So shall we start? So, in this chapter, we have our character. Two main characters we'll be having. One is our beggar, and the another one is Sergey. The another one is Sergey. So, who is Sergey? Sergey is an advocate. Clear? He deals with legal affairs. He is a lawyer by profession. He is an advocate. Now, what happens? One day, a person who was a drunkard, you can say, means he had drunk a lot of wine, you can say, or alcohol he has consumed a lot. And he came to Sergey and he said that, please help me. I need some help. I have been fired from my job. Means he was asked to leave his job. The organization with whom he was working, with which organization he was working, they have asked him to leave as they no more needed his services. So he says that due to some situations, they forced me or they trapped me in a situation and they have fired me from my job. And now I have received a job proposal. Clear? He says that though I have received a job proposal, but that job is not at this place, the place I am at present, I have to travel for that place. And I am forced to beg because I don't have enough money, even I don't have anything to survive or to reach that place. Clear? Now, if we talk of the beggar, what was his appearance? The beggar that we are talking of, he had worn a fawn color overcoat. Fawn colored overcoat. Overcoat, everyone must be knowing, the coat that is worn above, over other clothes, like you have worn a shirt, your trousers, and above that overcoat you wear, which is long. Yeah, and that is fawn colored. Fawn colored, you can say it is a bit yellowish in color, not exactly yellow, a dull fade of yellow, that was fawn colored. And if we talk of his appearance, his face, we can say that his eyes were dull and they were drunken. Dull, drunken eyes. Yeah, he had dull, drunken eyes, and he also had a red color spot on either cheek. It means on one of his cheeks he had a red color mark. Clear? This is about his appearance. Now he said that due to scheming, means people had trapped him in a situation, the thing that he had not done, he is accused of doing that thing, and they, due to their lie, he was forced to leave his job, rather he was fired. Clear? And he says that I am too ashamed, I don't want to, but I am forced to do that thing. That I am ashamed that I have to beg because I don't have anything, as I have a job proposal. I have received a job proposal in province of Kalinga. Clear? Now what is province? You can say an area which is ruled by same rules. Clear? And you can say there is rule of a bishop, you can say, or the pope of church rules or makes laws for that particular area. Clear? I hope it is clear till here to everyone. We have Sergey and the beggar. He comes to Sergey, an advocate by profession, and he tells that he has been forced to leave his job. He was not willing to, but due to scheming and lies, people have forced him to leave his job, and now he has got a job proposal in province of Kalinga, and he is ashamed of his situation that he is not having anything to get to that place. Clear? Now what happens? Sergey obviously is an advocate, means he must be smart. To deal with legal affairs where you have to argue, where you have to prove your point right, where you have to cut the argument of your opponent, there the person should be smart. Clear? He must be having a sharp memory as well. So what did Sergey say? He said that I happen to remember that I have seen you somewhere. And then he exactly remembers and he says that yes, a few days back I saw you at a place and there you told me that you are a you are a student. You are not a teacher, rather you are a student. Now the beggar was left without words. He was speechless, as Sergey has told him that he has spotted him at Sadovya Street. The name of the street is Sadovya Street, and he says that you told me at that time that you are a student and you have been expelled from from the place where you are studying. You have been expelled. And at that time also you were asking for help. And knowing that, now obviously at that time he was assuming, he was in a disguise of a student. He was in a way, he was proving his position that he is a student and he has been expelled. He is in a miserable situation. And today you are saying that you are a school teacher who has been fired from his job. And again you are asking for help. And he confronts him. Sergei confronts the beggar. He asks him, he interrogates him, he accuses him of lying to him. Here, and earlier, now what happened when he is accused of telling a lie? The beggar was, in a way, we can say, he was not expecting that Sergei would do something as such, or he would be remembering. Even the beggar didn't remember that he had already met Sergei in that street. But now, when Sergei is confronting him, he is telling him that he is lying and he has already met him before. Now, the beggar is in a tight spot. He is in a difficult situation. Initially, he denies. He is not ready to accept that the advocate is telling the truth. He is denying the facts. But later on, when Sergei got angered, he was angry because he has seen that a person who is asking for sympathy from the people is lying. He is not true to his words. He is faking. He is in disguise and he is playing with the feelings of other people. So he got angry, and then the beggar, he somehow agreed that it is true. Clear? Now what happens? The beggar, obviously he was confronted by Sergei, so he had to accept that he told the lie. Now he tells his actual position to the advocate. What he says that he had worked with a choir. He had worked with a choir who were musicians. He has worked with them, but due to his habit of drinking, he was forced to leave. They asked him to leave their group. And from that day onwards, he is not willing to do any work. And having forced to leave his job due to his habit of drinking. Now here we get a habit of the beggar. The habit is of drinking. It is obviously, we can say, people get addicted to it. So he has a bad habit of drinking. Obviously alcohol it is. So he says that he knew that if he will tell his true situation to people, they will not sympathize with him or they will not help him. So he was left with no other way but disguise himself as someone in need of help, who is a victim of some situation, so that people could easily sympathize with him. Clear? Till now what we have seen, that the beggar worked with a Russian choir and they forced him to leave their group as he had a bad habit of drinking, which somehow would be affecting his work. If he is addicted, then it is possible, it is very possible that there must not be a fixed time. If someone is addicted, if they get an idea in their mind, if they get a thought of drinking, they can't resist the need at that particular time, and that would obviously affect the work. And the beggar knew that this truth would not help him, it would not lead him to anything. So he disguised himself at one place as a student who has been expelled. At other time he disguised himself as a school teacher who is a victim of scheming and lies, so that people could help him, they could sympathize with him. Clear? Now what happens? The advocate, that is Sergey, he says that if that is so, if you are willing to do some work, then why don't you do work? You should work. You can work. You are not that old that you can't do any work. So you should obviously do some work. You can even chop the woods. So the beggar, he says that yes, obviously I can do that, but I am not getting any work. And as for chopping of woods, then this work is, I can't find such a work, because the people who used to do the work of chopping woods, they are themselves out of work. They have no work to do. Then how can I, who is not in the profession of cutting or chopping the woods, can I get the job? Is it possible that the people who are in that profession, they are having no job at all, they have no work at all, and I who is not a professional, will people hire me for that job? Now what happens? He is told to Sergey that he is willing to work if he gets a work. Clear? He is willing to do the work. Now Sergey says that I will offer you the job. The beggar, he was trying to escape from that situation somehow. But now he is trapped. Sergey has trapped him. As he said, he is willing to do work so that he can earn something. So Sergey says that yes, if you are willing, I will provide you the job. So now he is trapped. So now reluctantly, the beggar has to agree. Reluctantly means unwillingly and hesitantly. In a way, the person is not willing to do something. But now as he is trapped, so he says that okay, if you are providing me the job, I will do it. So now what happens? Sergey takes him to his place. Clear? He takes him to his place. There he calls the cook and he says to her that take this person to the shed. Take him into the shed and assign him the work of chopping the woods. Clear? Now, what Olga does, she takes him to the shed. And there, before unlocking the shed, she shoves him. Shoves means to push with the help of elbow. And in the while going to the shed, we talk about the manner in which the beggar was following, earlier the advocate and later the cook, that was reluctant. He was not willing to, but he has to, as he has been trapped. Clear? Now, after going into the shed, Olga throws the axe. He throws the axe. It is A-X-E. It is used to chop the woods. He throws the axe to the feet of the beggar and rebukes him in a way. Clear? Now, having told Olga to take the beggar into the shed, the advocate returns to his room, and through the window of his room, he can clearly see what is going on in the shed. So he was looking at the things. Now, after going there, after having provided the axe, the beggar picks up the axe. Unwillingly, he starts to chop the woods. Clear? As he is a drunkard, obviously his physique would not be that good. He would be, we can say he is not fit, as his body has been, you can say, deteriorated due to his habit of drinking. Clear? Now he unwillingly takes that axe and he starts to strike the birds in order to chop them. But his efforts, it seems that they won't be fruitful, as the effort that is needed to chop the wood is not there in that beggar. And after striking the wood a few times, he starts to blew his hands. Means if something hurts, what do? You blow air to your hands so as to soothe the skin. So he blew his hands. Clear? Now, as he was blowing at his freezing hands, and Sergey was obviously seeing through the window of his room, so he feels bad. He feels guilty that he has given a tough task to a beggar who is already not that fit for the job. But what happens after an hour or so, Olga comes and she tells Sergei that the woods have been chopped. Now there is something that would arise curiosity among you as well. Like initially we saw that he was striking in a way that won't help him chop the wood. It would take him many days to chop the wood in the way he was striking. But within an hour the woods are already chopped. As Olga comes and tells Sergei that the woods have been chopped by the beggar. Clear? Now, as the job was finished, Sergei asked Olga to give him half a ruble. Clear? Now, what is a ruble? I'll explain this to you later, but let me write here first. He was given a ruble by Olga as it was ordered by Sergei. Now he was pleased that he has finally done the job. He has proved that what he said was right. He said that he wants to work if he gets a work, and he has done when he was assigned some job. Now he tells Olga to inform the beggar that if he wants, he can come on the first day of every month to chop woods. Clear? Every time. Now the beggar came next month on the first of the next month, and he again chopped the woods and he was again given half a ruble. From that day onwards, he would often come to do odd jobs. Clear? Some odd jobs that were available at that time, he would do them and he would get some 20 to 40 kopecks. He would get some kopecks. Clear? Now what is kopecks and what is ruble? We will talk about the two in reference. Now, if I say ruble is equal to 100 rupees, it is not so just assumed to understand the two. If it is of 100 rupees, then kopecks, 1 kopeck is equal to 1 rupee. Clear? It is equal to 1 rupee. That means it is 100th part of the ruble. Clear? If he was given half a ruble, that means he was given 50 rupees. You can say it's not exact. And if I say he was given 20 to 40 kopecks, that means he was given 20 to 40 rupees. Clear? So I hope you both have got the relation of the currency that is being talked of. So he would do such type of jobs, and once he was even given he was given a pair of old trousers by Sergei for the job he does. For the job he did, sorry. Now what happens? The advocate Sergei, he had to shift his place. So he called for the beggar and he asked him to help him in packing and shifting. Now it was winter season, so he didn't have any woolen clothes to cover himself. So he was shivering. And that day he hardly did anything. And there was the way he used to have his appearance, his physical appearance, that was also a change could be seen in that physical appearance, as he had his head held low. Means he was in this way. He was all the time he was looking downwards. He didn't have that excitement. He was very quiet that day. Okay. And what happens? He hardly did anything. But when the wagons left, and the wagons were leaving, and he was walking behind the wagons, other carters that were present over there, they were laughing at him. Now, why were they laughing? They were laughing at the miserable condition of the beggar. Okay, as he didn't have anything to cover himself, so he was feeling really embarrassed at that situation when they were laughing, when they were mocking at him. Okay. Now what happened that day? The advocate, he thought that he had somehow succeeded in bringing a person who had somehow went off the track, back on the track. That means if I say that a person off the track means like if you have to go somewhere and you are not going through the right path and you have just changed your path, which will lead you not to that destination but to something else, you can say that is off the track. Okay, so here the word that we can use for the beggar is wayward, not on the right path. And after seeing the change in the beggar, the advocate asked him, "What is your name?" And the name that the beggar told him was Lashkov. Clear? So now he asked him that, "Do you know how to read and write?" He agreed. On getting a positive response from the beggar, or we have the name of the beggar, that is Lashkov, he handed him a letter and he said that, "Take this letter to my friend and there he will assign you a job. You have to do that job." So he took that letter from him and he left. And after that day, he was not to be seen with the advocate, or we can say with Sergi. He never met him. Clear? Now after some time, or I can say after 2 years, what happened? One day Sergi noticed a person who is well dressed in the theater. He was paying for his tickets in copper coins. Clear? He paid copper coins in return of the tickets. And there, after paying a closer look, after noticing him for some time, of getting sure of what he is thinking, he called that person by the name of Lashkov. He said, "Is that you?" Means, am I right that you are Lashkov, the person whom I used to assign some jobs? Are you the same person?